welcome to the first podcast episode of Around the Campfire with AmeriCamp. My name's Jen.
And I'm Juliet.
Thank you for tuning in. We're super excited.
So excited.
To chat your little ears off. So just, I feel like a little bit about us and a little bit about
what
AmeriCamp
is.
So AmeriCamp is a summer camp brand that we both work for. So AmeriCamp was founded in 2010 by Lee McAteer, who attended summer camp in Massachusetts in 2004. He had such a life-changing, amazing experience that he wanted to make it kind of more accessible for kind of young people and students to be able to kind of get higher salaries and kind of go back and have the same sort of fulfilling experience that he had, which was the kind of mission statement of what he wanted to do. And I think kind of 10 years on, he's absolutely achieved it.
Yeah, now we're here.
Started from the bottom, now we
and yeah, I mean, now we kind of like do what he had dreamed of and intended and send people to camp every summer, which is so awesome. In terms of like my role, I am an applications coordinator. So like anyone who applies through AmeriCamp to go to camp every summer, I'm going to be able to like see their application and get them kind of ready to be placed at their dream camp, which is so exciting. I get to talk to so many people that are really like hyped for the summer and kind of give them advice on how to get best placed, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Dream job.
Yeah, it's just like the most rewarding job ever.
Yeah.
I started nearly 3 years ago at AmeriCamp, and I kind of started on like onboarding, and then I did a little bit of like application things, and then I moved into like application coordination things last year. So I completely agree with you. Being able to actually speak to participants that are going to go to camp is the best feeling ever.
Like we've both been to camp, so we understand like how important it is and want to like keep that program going and make sure that other people have the same experiences that like we had and that we loved. So yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, because it's scary. So I feel like you need it's like it's like super exciting, but like it is scary to be able to say that you're going to the US for 4 months by yourself. You're like doing a job that you most likely probably haven't done before.
Potentially like leaving home for the first time ever. Yeah, 100%.
So it's like super important for us that everyone feels really like safe and happy supported and excited to go. So that's definitely, I would say, our kind of biggest
100%.
like our just like our biggest
goal.
Yeah, for sure, on why we want people to go to the US for the summer. A little bit about our kind of story since then. So we are now a visa sponsor. So yes, that's so exciting, and it's something that is like such an amazing achievement. It allows us to be able to kind of be in more control of who can apply for the program. We're super big on inclusivity and diversity, so that's like a really important thing for us. So in 2021 we were acquired by Intrax, which has opened so many opportunities for us to grow as a brand globally, which resulted in us becoming a visa sponsor, which is amazing. The president of Intrax, Marcy Snyder, shares our passion for camp, having been a camper and a counsellor. So it's really important to have that kind of shared understanding of how influential camp is, and kind of how important it is kind of like your origin story, really.
Exactly, 100%. And like it's like you before camp and you after camp. Like it's different people. And I think it's really cool how like the passion and excitement for camp trickles all the way down from like the very top with Marcy, and like all of us have been to camp, so we're just so passionate and excited about it, and that comes across when we're like helping applicants. We all like, in terms of like the diversity and like inclusion, we've all been to camp, but we've all been to like such different camps, which means that we have totally different perspectives, and we can like provide information and advice and perspectives and opinions to our applicants from like different places and different camps and different like experiences at camp that we've had, so which is awesome.
Like our team is made up of so many different people that have been to different camps, had different experiences, so the kind of genuineness of our kind of camp stories is one of the most important things, I would say, just because when participants are like interested in going to camp, we want to make sure that if they want to go to special needs, like they can phone in and they can speak to someone who's genuinely had that experience and been like, this is firsthand exactly what it's like, this is what my camp was like, this is what to expect. Obviously every camp's going to be different, like just because you went to special needs, for example, doesn't mean that it's going to be like a copy and paste at every single special needs camp.
But that's the cool thing about it, is that like I think before you go you don't necessarily realize the like scope of it. There's hundreds of camps in the US and they all have like such individual like personalities and like ethos and like are just absolutely different. So it's awesome. So
in terms of our team, I think it's great that we have so many people that have came from so many different backgrounds of and different types of camp as well. So whenever someone is like, hey, I want to be a sports specialist, we make sure that they speak to someone who's went to a sports camp and kind of had that role, so that they are getting kind of first-hand information and kind of first-hand sort of experiences on what camp was actually like for them. We want to make sure that everyone feels kind of prepared before they go. So it's great that we're able to kind of offer that. I did special needs when I went to camp, which is something that not a lot of people consider, I would say. I never had any experience with special needs before doing camp at all. It was just something that I was open to and something that you just have to be kind of like quite patient and quite accepting, but camps are sort of have that instilled in what they do anyway, so it's just more about you as a person and you like kind of willing to learn and just kind of as I say, like there's no difference between, from my perspective, there's no difference between a kind of typical camp and a special needs camp in terms of like, from what I've heard from others in terms of their activities and their kind of setup. I haven't really seen like a huge difference.
I would assume it's like a really like, obviously going to camp in itself is a really like fulfilling experience, but I feel like you would have ended the summer just like so, I don't know, just had learned so much, so full of like new information and experiences, like every camp, but especially with special needs, I feel like.
I think it's just like there's more one-on-one. So we had like less campers because I would have campers that were in wheelchairs or some campers that were non-verbal that maybe needed like a little bit more support in terms of those activities. So I would say I got a lot closer to my campers on like a one-on-one basis, having spent like more time with them.
100%.
As far as I know, with sort of more typical camps, I guess that you have like groups of kids and you're kind of with different kids kind of like throughout the summer.
I've had like lots of different, so I can kind of explain my camp experience as well, but in terms of that specifically, like I've had lots of different sized groups. So I've had like a cabin of like 12 kids and I've had a cabin of like 3, so it kind of depends. But in my experience, so I started camp in 2018 as a counsellor at a YMCA in Massachusetts. So I guess the difference with YMCAs is that it's a little bit more like rural, a little bit more like bare bones, but like it's also a really strong focus on like community and spirituality, not in like a religious sense, but just like it's very much kumbaya. A lot of like singing by the campfire, which I think is like classic camp, but we spend a lot of time like talking about our feelings.
Love that.
So I was just a general counsellor in 2018 and 2019 and went on to like specialise in running like music, drama, LARPing, which is like really...
What is LARPing?
LARPing is live action role play.
Oh
okay. It's basically like you do like these big drama games where you spend like an hour being a character and you have to just like walk around camp and cause chaos, and it's the best.
If anyone has like any LARPing experience, please.
I do. And then last year I went back sort of post-COVID on the leadership team. So I was running the junior unit, which is like our middle-aged unit. And so like every like 11 to 13-year-old was, you know, in my unit, which was a great experience. I feel like that's where I got actually like closer with kids than when I was a counsellor, because especially those kids that have like special needs, or we did have special needs kids like at our camps, or like who just like need extra care. You just really like
more
bond with them. And yeah, just such an incredible experience. I'm really glad that I got to do that level of it. I think like a lot of people going to camp wouldn't expect that they can kind of go back and kind of climb up the ladder essentially, totally. But it gives you like a whole new perspective on like how camp runs, and it's really cool to get to contribute to something that you love so much.
Yeah.
So yeah,
it's definitely such a community. Like I feel like you're so worried going into it because it's anything unknown is always going to be scary, and then you get there and it's like your whole new family. It's like you do live there. Like it's completely different from going on a holiday. It's like, this is my house for the next 3 months. Like, cabin, if you want to send me mail, cabin free. Like,
I'll get it at dinner.
Yeah, like it is like stepping into a completely other life that you get to kind of try on 100%. And see if it fits for the summer, which is amazing.
Yeah.
And you meet so many people there. I feel like the friendships that I've gotten so close so quickly were from camp specifically, because you're living together, you're working together, you're kind of on top of each other all the time because you're in the same environment for the full duration you're at camp. So you can't help but develop such close relationships. Like I was telling people my deepest, darkest secrets after knowing them for 2 days.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you like fully are experiencing that moment together, and it's almost like the outside world doesn't exist.
Yeah.
And it's very much a bit of a bubble, but it creates these like incredible bonds. And then every year that you go back, you get to meet new people that become part of the family, and it's very much just like a really magical community. It's just so great.
And I'm such a fan sis, so I was just like, my life is literally a movie.
Parent Trap.
Literally. We should talk about that. To be fair, there's the movies like Camp Rock and Parent Trap are literally based on actual camps that exist.
Yeah.
So.
Well, actually, like when like camp didn't happen during 2020, me and my camp did like this Zoom camp thing where we like spoke about camp, and I did this presentation about how Camp Rock is like really inaccurate because there's like no counselors anywhere. And it's like, what about me? I also go to camp. But there's children and there are counselors. There's definitely both, not just like teenagers walking around willy-nilly with guitars.
Yeah, you just can't like stop your job for the day because you've like fallen out with your boyfriend.
Yeah, you can't go canoe riding with Joe Jonas just randomly. Oh my gosh. But yeah, I mean, I think that's like why this is going to be so much fun, because there's so many different elements to camp. Like already talking about it, I'm like, oh, I could talk about this, I could talk about that. Like the friendships that you make, the activities that you do, the experiences that you have, like it genuinely just like, there's just so much to talk about. Like my friends at uni always used to say that I needed to put like £1 in the jar every time I spoke about camp, and they would be millionaires because I just like could not shut up about it. So obviously this is like the perfect job. You get to talk about camp all the time.
Totally. And I think that that's like so accurate in the fact that there's only so many times your friends outside of your camp friends can hear like the same stories over and over.
Not really gonna understand the context, because even though we've been to like completely different camps, if you told me a story, I'd be like, yeah, I understand.
Yeah, like references, like I 100%
understand. And then even like there'll be some similarities. Like I remember I've like sung camp songs in the office before, and people have been like, know that one, even though they went to a camp in like a different state. So yeah, it's really cool. It's
like the best common ground to have with someone, because as soon as you identify someone as like a summer camp person, you're like, right, we're gonna get on,
we're gonna talk, we're gonna but then it's also exciting, they're gonna have a completely different experience, and that's like kind of another element of this job and what we do is like when we do like our camp fairs and stuff, and we meet like camp directors and you learn about all the different traditions, you realize like just how different every single camp is and how cool that is.
100%. And they're all over the US as well. Like our camps were both
Mine was
East
in
Coast.
Massachusetts.
Yeah, I was New Jersey, so like
Yeah.
both East Coast. But I think it'd be so interesting to speak to people that were like West Coast camps or like camps in like southern states
camps,
to be like, did you do some like crazy tradition at like 4 p.m. on a Thursday that no one else? So yeah, I think that it's so interesting. Like there's so much stuff that we can dive into. There's so many like questions and topics that we can cover.
I think that is my favorite question though, like what the favorite camp tradition is, because when people like when I tell my friends or like people at work about the traditions we did at camp, they're like, what? It's so, that is so random and wild, but it literally would make you just like, you sound like mad, but it's so much fun. So yeah.
What is your favorite camp tradition?
Oh my gosh, do we really want to I feel like I mean there are so many, but I think like what's special about like YMCA camps is like the values.
Yeah.
So we have like this whole tradition of like being a beacon light, which is someone who like directs people in the right direction, like gives them guidance. So like we all wear like lighthouses on our necklaces.
Oh, I love that. You're wearing it right now.
I'm wearing, this is my like original 2018 one.
I love that.
And we call camp the shores because if you're a beacon light, then you can like direct boats to the shores.
That's lovely.
So it's all about like spreading that light when you leave camp and directing people in the right way. And my friend always said that like she equated it to like if you saw oncoming traffic, that you would like pull your friend away from oncoming traffic. So, like protecting people and keeping them safe from like going in the wrong direction. So
that is so sweet. I love that.
It's very, and then when you explain it to people who haven't been to camp, it's like, what are you talking about? But to us, it's like so cool. What was your like a camp tradition that you liked?
We had so our camp was super small compared to when I speak to other people. So
I think mine was quite small as well.
How many?
We have like 70, 80 staff.
How many international counsellors did you have?
It was like a good split. I think it was like a 40-60 like split, like 60% probably international, but depending on the year, like last year was almost all international because of COVID. Okay. But when I initially went, it was like 60% international.
We had 13 international counsellors.
You're special. So that's
Taylor Swift's lucky number. Yeah, we had 13. So there was like 13 of us, and then we were all from the UK actually. Other than that's a lie. There was maybe like 10 of us from the UK. We had an Australian. We had someone.
That's another cool thing. Like meet people from around the world. Yeah,
totally.
It's epic.
So we had that, and then we had maybe like 30 Americans, and then we also had like head staff and like alumni and things like that as well. So we had that, and then we had 6 cabins. Like that's it. 6 cabins, and then we had like our dining hall and like our like nurse area and like that kind of thing. But like sleeping, there was 6 cabins. So I think the grand scale of like when Callum went to camp and he was like, yeah, there was like 200 staff. I was like, I can't imagine what it would be like.
Callum's like another member of the team. When he speaks about the fact that like he didn't even like actually know everyone that worked there, I'm like, I knew like the ins and outs of everyone. I knew the tea. Like
I knew who was doing what when. I think my favourite camp tradition was that when we did res, so we had 2 weeks of day camp, and then we had like 4 or 5 res sessions that were either a week or 2 weeks. We always had like a disco / prom.
Love a dance.
At like the end of, it was like usually the kind of like Friday before they would like get picked up on like the Sunday, and you like had to ask someone to the dance, and I was just like, this is what my American wannabe high school heart is like. You're like,
I want to be Gabriela Montez. Where is my backup from?
Literally, but it was all of our campers, so it was like you had to like a camper and a council, like you went to like the dance together, and it was really fun.
Yeah, we used to call them block parties, but it changed in 2019. I was like, why is
this? That sounds crazy.
It was, but they were always like themed. So you would find out the themes at the start of the summer, and then you had to like buy costumes.
Oh my god, I love that.
We had like,
I love
you know, like 80s under the sea, like classic prom themes, I guess. And then like separate, one time we did like an actual prom where we all got dressed up for dinner, and my campers all bought like their cuddly toys, and we had these like garden flamingos that would like be outside our cabin, and we dressed them up and we gave them ties and bow ties. So much fun. I love it.
I love that. Can you imagine just getting like doing that here?
Bringing my cuddly toy to work with a bow tie.
This has been a chaotic first episode, but I've loved every minute of it. This has been episode 1 of the Around the Campfire with AmeriCamp podcast. Thank you so much for listening. We'd love to hear your thoughts, your feedback, what you guys want to hear for future episodes.
Absolutely, yeah. There's so much that we could cover, so hearing like what you want to hear first is so important to us, so we can kind of hit all of those points and have more fun conversations, because obviously we could talk about camp forever, as is exemplified by this. So yeah,
we can put on our like podcast from camp and sing you every single song. Like you name it, like we can do it. So
and we also have endless camp merch we can wear for every single one.
I'm literally wearing my camp t-shirt unintentionally today, which is cute. So but if anyone wants fashion shows or
talent shows,
camp
LARPing,
we can do it all.
It's gonna be epic.
Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. We hope to see you back next week.
And subscribe. Woo! Bye.